Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to see more about forms in HTML. With the continuation of our last video where we have seen how to create a basic sign-in page which was consisting a label, text box, and a button. We are going to see furthermore about input types in HTML. So as you can see, this was our last form which we have developed, which is consisting of a label, username, and password. And there were two text boxes, one of a type text and one of password, and then a button. So similarly, like this, we're going to create more input elements today, because input elements in HTML gives you varieties of types. So as you can see in our previous video, we have given a type equal to password. Okay, when we were giving type equal to text, it was simply taking text as an input instead of password, right? But as soon as we gave type equal to password, it has encrypted the text into some bullet format, right? Some hidden format. And this is because your browser allows, or your browser provides us with a default authentication when we write this type equal to password, right? Similarly, like this, we're going to see some more input types today. So let's quickly add another input type over here, and that's going to be, for example, email. So I'm going to add over here email, and the same thing I'm going to add over here, and here. Okay. And let's see what happens by keeping type as text. When I refresh it, email is over here, and if I enter something over here, something over here, and something over here, and submit it, it gets submitted. But this shouldn't be the case, because email have a particular format which consists of @ symbol in it. And here, even if we are not having anything, still it is taking it, right? So this is not correct. And for that, we have to give over here a type email. When we give type equal to email, let's see what happens. I'll enter some username, some password, and some email, again in a text format. Now it is not allowing you to accept whatever you have written in this email text box, and this is because we have applied type equal to email, and that's why it is showing you a pop-up which is telling that please enter in a correct format, or please include an @ symbol in the email address, because that is how email addresses, right? So if I write @ and something in that, now let's see what happens. Now it has taken successfully whatever inputs you have given, right? So this is a use of email type. Similarly, like email, there is another type called as number. Okay, for example, I am creating another label of age, okay, which will represent age. So I'll write over here age and age. Now if I refresh it, you'll be able to see that here there is an up and down key arrow which allows me to select numbers. Okay, so age, you can select age simply by clicking on this arrow, or else you can write over here anything, whatever you want. Okay, now you can see that my age is also going in minus values. So to avoid that, we can set minimum value for this number and maximum value as well. So I'll set something minimum for that, and that's going to be 1, because age will be not less than 1, and maximum equal to, for example, let's keep it as 100. And if I go and run it now, you'll see that it will not allow me to enter anything which is below 1 or anything which is above 100, but it will allow anything between 1 and 100. Okay, and this is because minimum and maximum value which we have set. So this was about type number. Similarly, like type number, we have another type called as date. And for that, I'm going to create a label called birth date. Okay, so let's create a label birth date, and I'll put it over here and here as well. And over here, I'm going to give the format as date. Okay, not format, sorry, type. And let's remove this thing from here and save it, and let's go and check how does this work. Here we go. Isn't it interesting? It has given me a calendar which is representing date, month, and year. So, okay, so that I can easily select date from here, right? Similar to number type, we can also set minimum and maximum value for date as well. Because many a time, some of the forms have some criteria that the age should be within this and this, or the age should be, below this or above this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put minimum and maximum value for date as well. So I'll put 2021 and 0. Sorry, something wrong. So I'll be putting 2021, 06, and for example, any random value 15. And for maximum, I'll be putting 2021 and 07 and 4. Okay, and I'll save it and let's see it now. When I click on this, it will not allow me to select anything after 4th of July because that's what I've saved as a maximum value. And similarly, it will not allow me to select anything before 15 June. Okay, so you can select only between 15 June to 4th of July because that's what we have set as minimum and maximum value, right? Similar to date, you can also have another type in date, which is called as a DateTime local. By using this, you can also add time to your field. Many a times when we are scheduling an appointment, we have to have the time as well. So in that case, or in those situation, you can use these things, this DateTime local type, right? So this allows me to also select date for date and with that time. Okay, so I can set over here date and time. Isn't it interesting? Right. Similar to that, we have another input field called as tel. Okay, this tel is representing your number, representing your phone number, your contact number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write over here contact. Similarly, I'll write over here as well. Here as well and here as well, and I'm going to remove this from here. Okay, and here instead of DateTime local, I'll be writing tel. Tel represent your contacts, and contact means your phone number. Okay, and here simply you can enter your numbers. Okay, now here you can also set pattern when you're giving a phone number or when you want a user to enter contact number. Okay, and we'll be setting a pattern, for example, because many a times the patterns of number is not same across the world. Different countries have different patterns of phone numbers. So you can set your own pattern over here. For example, 0 to 9. So this is just for your information that you can set this pattern as well. So I'll just put 0 to 9 and 4. Okay, so we'll save it and we'll run it. Okay, so now this particular form will ask me if I'm going to simply enter something and signing in, then it will ask me to match the required format because we have given pattern over here. So until and unless I don't match with this particular format, it will not allow me to enter or to submit the form. So how do the user know that what is a format? And for that, we have an important property of input, and that is called as placeholder. With the help of this placeholder, you can simply write whatever you want to show to the user so that the user understand, okay, so this input element actually need this particular thing or this particular thing in this format, and that's why these placeholders are there. So I'll tell you how this placeholder works. For example, I'll show the user the format is going to be 3 numbers, then a hyphen, and again 4 numbers. Okay, and I'm going to write over here example. Okay, and let's see now. Here we go. Can you see it has displayed the example which I have wrote, but it is simply at the back end. You cannot erase it or you cannot remove it. And you can write over here with that. Okay, means it will allow you to write over here in this text box. So it is simply it is for the user information. We are using this placeholder. So the name itself suggests that placeholder is for holding, or it's for representing that particular input box is used for what purpose, right? Or how it should be used. So in this case, it is telling that example, you have to enter the contact in this particular format, right? Okay, so these are some of the basic input types which we have seen. Now what I'll do is I'll simply sign in without filling anything. Or for example, I'll fill password, not email, because it will ask me validation for entering @ I'll fill these two things and I'll sign in, and it has taken. So this shouldn't happen, right? If you're filling half of the thing and you're leaving half of the thing and still the form is getting submitted, so this is not the correct way. And for that, for avoiding that thing, we have a property called as required. By using this required, your form will not get submitted until and unless you fill all the fields which are required or which you are setting to required. For example, here, now I'm going to fill all my fields or all my input over here as required. Okay, so let's see what happened after putting this required over here, and then yeah, we finished. And then I'll refresh it. And now if I try to submit it, it is telling me, please fill out this form. I think I have not entered for username. Yeah, that's why it has shown to the second input box instead of the first. So I'll put here as well, required. Okay, and now you will see. If I sign it, it tells me, please fill out the field because it is required. You cannot just submit it without filling anything. So I'll fill it over here and then I'll sign. So it will show up for the second one. Then I'll fill this and then I'll sign it. And then it will show up for the third one. So in case when the user in hurry fills up the form and forgets one or the other field, then this particular property helps to remind the user that please see, check over here, something is still remaining. So please fill out this field, right? By telling like this. So for example, I just remove one of the field from one of the required tag from here. For example, I'll remove this thing from here and I'll save it and I'll fill up the whole form, any random thing, and I'll submit it. Please fill out this field because I have removed this, but still it is asking me, maybe I have not refreshed it. Yeah, it has taken it, right? Why? Because I've removed this required field from here. So wherever you are going to apply this required field for that particular input, it will ask you to fill those input compulsorily, right? So this is how this required property works. And the next type of input element is search. So this particular element helps you to search anything from the list, or you can say anything from the document, right? Many a times you may have also experienced this search box, right? Even when we simply do Control F, then there comes a search box which allows you to search anything from the below document or the list which is present in front of you in the website or web page. Similarly, this search works. So let's quickly see how does it looks when we run it. It will look very much similar to your text box because there will be no difference as they look wise if you see. Okay, the only difference in text is that when you write something, there comes a cross symbol over here, which tells you that you can erase it by clicking on this cross. Okay, this is simply for search. Okay, but now you cannot feel how does it work because there's nothing in front of this particular search box over here. That's why. Okay, with this we have one more type of input element, then that is called as file. One of the very important type, by the way, because if you know that we are usually using this particular input type file for uploading files wherever we are asked in various websites, right? So this is that particular type which is actually allowing you to upload file uh, from your machine. Okay, so let's quickly see how does it work. So what I'm doing is I'm just replacing everything with this file, because rest all the thing is same in input type. Okay, what changes, it's just your file. So that's why after copying, I'm just changing this particular thing. Okay, that is the name of the type. So if I refresh it, here we go. Here comes file and button like looking box which is telling you to choose file. So when I click on this particular choose file, you can see that it opens up my file explorer, and I can choose any file from here. Okay, and here it gets chosen. Okay, now over here one thing is there, that if I try to choose more than one file, for example, it doesn't allow me to choose more than one file. I'm trying to actually select more files over here, but it is not allowing me. It's just keeping on changing itself, because that's how it is. Okay, so we can make it to allow the user to select more files. That means more than one files, and that is by using a property called as multiple. By using this particular property, what we can do is we can simply allow the users to upload more than one files. Did you see the difference? Earlier it was choose file, and now it has become choose files, because I have written multiple in my input element. Okay, and now it is allowing me to choose as many as files I want. Okay, and if I do open, you can see 6 files have been selected, right? So this is a use of file type. Now another type with this is checkbox. Okay, so again, one of the very important and widely used type of input element, because checkbox are used in various websites for checking and unchecking the elements which users are interested in. So we'll quickly see how does it works. So what I'm doing is, again, I'm replacing everywhere this checkbox, this file with checkbox, because now we are using checkbox. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this multiple from here, and I'll write something over here. Okay, so for example, I will write anything like Iron Man. Okay, and if I control S it and I run it, here we go. Okay, so usually checkbox is not a single, usually. Okay, so checkbox always comes in a group. So let's add more checkboxes, so you'll also be clear what is the purpose of this. Okay, so I'll just save it and run it over here. Here you can see there are 3 checkboxes. So it's usually for the user to choose their preferences. Okay, you can choose multiple checkboxes as well at one time. There's no issue with that. Okay, similar to this checkbox, we have another element, and that is called as radio. Okay, not element, sorry, there's another type of input element, and that is radio. What does this radio does is it exactly works like this checkbox. It also looks like this checkbox, only the difference is that it is circle, and radios are circle and checkbox are square. But the difference between them is that you can select one checkbox radio at a time, radio button at a time. Okay, so we'll just quickly see. So if I just make it again and save it, here we go. Okay, check all the checkboxes at a time, multiple checkboxes at a time. But whereas if you see in this case of radio button, you can only select one radio button at a time. When you select Spider-Man, this Iron Man get vanished, and if I select over here, this get vanished, right? So this is what this particular radio is used for. Okay, now usually it's used, like, you'll understand it more clearly if I'll write over here male and female, because this is what usually we get in various websites, right? In case of for selecting gender, we get an option, or we get radio buttons usually where they write these things, right? And now when I refresh it, you can see we have to select only one value at a time, and that's why this radio buttons are used. Similar to this radio input type, we have another input type, and that is called as color. So this is actually not widely used, we can say, but in some cases, as I told you just now, that if there's a requirement where you have to display color, or you have to give the user to choose color, right? So in that particular case, you can use this input type color. So what will happen with this is simply it will allow your user to select color. So if I refresh it, here we go. Can you see? From this, your user can select color, right? So this is the use of this particular input type. So this is the color type of input element. Okay, now there's another input type which is called as select. But over here, this is also input type because we take input from the user. But here the tag is not input which we used. We directly use the tag select, and inside that select we give various options for the user to select any value, any random value which they want, okay, which they're interested in. So this is the use of select. In short, we can see that the drop down list on the websites which we can see is actually the select. Okay, so how is the syntax for select? Simply we have to write select, and inside that you can give option for the user to select. Okay, and in this option you can write, for example, I'll write apple and I'll close my option. Okay, now, and here also you have to give the value for this option because it's mandatory if to give a value over here inside your option. So I'm going to give value as maybe here apple. Okay, and now I'll write this thing. So I've just prepared a list of options over here for the user, which we will be showing them under this particular select type. Okay, if I save it and if I go and run it, you can see over here. Can you see? Apple, banana, mango. You can select any of the value from this. Okay, now I think it's not properly visible. What I'll do is I'll just add some break tag over here after this. Okay, 2 are enough. And if I save it and run, yeah, now it will be more visible. Can you see? So here we go. So if I just click on this, you can see the list of options which we have given: apple, mango, banana, and watermelon, and you can choose any one of them. Okay, for example, if you want multiple to be selected at a time, then you can again write over here multiple, and if you save it, here we go. So here you can select multiple values at a time and then submit, right? Similarly, if, for example, you want any value to be set, okay, I'll just remove this multiple from here, that my particular drop-down should be selected. It should be predefinedly selected when the browser load. Then you can also use the selected property. For example, now I have selected for Apple. So what will happen? Apple will be visible over here by default, okay? Earlier it was not the case. Right, so this is a use of select. This is a use of selected property, and this as a whole drop down is being can be created by using the select type. Right, this is not a type, select element of form. Okay, right. So these are about the various input types in forms. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll quickly write this under a element called as field set. This particular element field set is used for, for grouping the similar sort of elements together. So since it's not looking little good, I'm going to wrap it around this field set, and also it gives you a border by default. And then with this also comes another element, and that is called as legend, and this actually gives the caption for your field set. Okay, so I'll tell you how you'll soon see how this looks like. Okay, so I'll just write over here maybe registration form. Okay, and when I save it and when we go and check this, here we go, it will look something like this. Can you see there's a border sort of something is coming? So what I'll do is I'll just remove this checkboxes for now, some of the information just to show you how does it looks. And here we go, so it's looking something like this, right? Okay, so here were some of the important input types in forms which we have seen, right? Hope you like this information and do practice this, and let me know if there are any queries while practicing it. Thank you.